next level in entertainment.
You're listening to the Pelicans postgame report on the PRO Media Network for all things Pelicans.
For all things Pelicans, you're rocking with the Pelican post-game report on the PRO Media Network. What up, fam? Good to hear from you on the Pelican post-game report today. And on the Pelican post-game report today, we'll be covering this. Of course, it's another week, man, of Pelicans games. How about that? Another week of Pelicans games. Another week, another week, another week. Well, this is the thing, man, we'll cover. What's up, Unique View? I see you in the chat. Good to see some of the family members. Ricky Lee, what up, fam? How y'all doing in the chat? And this is the fantastic thing about what's going on with the Pelicans. You can see a gradual improvement of how the Pelicans have been recently taking off. Zion Williamson, of course, the first couple of starts that he had to get acclimated to it. And that was kind of me and DC. We're going to bring DC in here. DC, key contributor on the Pelican post-game report. DC, how you doing today, fam?
All right, man.
That was my major concern about the acclimation of Zion Williamson into the Pelicans fold is how would him and Ingram coexist together, being that Ingram is the all-star. Drew Holiday, of course, took a step back in as a quiet leader. And what pretty much happened from that point forward is that the Pelicans then used Ingram, who became an all-star, averaging 25 and a half here, and just took it to another level. So it's just magnificent, man, to be honest with you, how things have been playing out. So Zion Williamson, of course, is Zion Williamson. Exactly what he is. But in this edition of the Pelican Post-Game Report, name of this episode is The Pels Improve while putting together a winning streak. And they remain, about 4 games back at the 8th position of getting the 8th seed in the playoff race.
Yeah, they can get inside one game today if they manage to beat the Rockets, which I don't think is impossible. Well, we strong at their week, man. They ain't got nobody on the inside. Zion can wreak havoc this game.
Well, we're gonna.
But I know that's coming up later. I know.
We're gonna get into it. But
what's wrong with you, man? Thinking Ingram and Zion can't mesh. Nah, I thought the same thing too for a minute, but man, these dudes it's kind of a blessing how unselfish they are to say they're that young, man. We really have a team, and they all want to see each other succeed, bro. So that's a great thing. Hopefully, when the money start coming in, that don't change.
Yeah, well, he definitely played himself into a contract, if not with the Pelicans, most certainly with somebody else. So you better open the goddamn pocketbook and pay him. Bottom line. So let's move to this episode.
They want him
talk about the. We're going to recap a few games. We're going to recap the Cleveland matchup, of course, Memphis and Boston, and then we're going to preview the matchup against the Houston Rockets today at 1 o'clock. So it's going to be interesting, but another excellent week of Pelican basketball, man. I must say, a very tough matchup against Boston, and then a couple of really extended wins here. We're going to get into it, and also news. We're going to hit you with some Pelican news, of course, what Jackson Hayes was doing, man. And I guess we could start the show off with that Jackson news.
Oh, Lord.
So DC, what's going on here with Jackson Hayes, man? What's the deal here?
Well, apparently Mr. Hayes was very disappointed, They had the Rising Star game. Ingram got an All-Star, and Zion got to go to the Rising Star game along with Alexander Walker. And I'm going to be honest, y'all. If we're going to let Alexander Walker go, I know he's playing for Team Canada, the international side of it. Jackson Hayes probably should have been on that team. I can't think of any rookie other than the rookie in Memphis, and you got the guy with the Warriors. Well, I don't think he's a center. He might be a forward, Pascal. I don't know a lot of centers that played better than him, man. I mean, he's almost 1 or 2 in blocks, number 1 in field goal percentage, and he's giving you about 8 points a game, man, and 4 or 5 rebounds. So him not making it there, he's very upset, and he gets on Instagram, I believe, and just goes on the NBA, cause woo woo woo. I don't give a, and I hope y'all hear it. He goes out on a limb, does all of this, only to come back and apologize the next day. I guess after getting briefed by some people who had some sense and would like to see his career flourish. So he kind of peed the bed on that one. And hopefully this isn't a sign of things to come. He said he was upset, and there was a moment of, I guess, rage. He just said something that doesn't classify who he is as a person. Those actions don't define him, so to speak. So, big mistake for him. I don't think the NBA is going to shine too lightly on that. He might be losing a few dollars out that pocketbook. And I don't know if you're going to make the up-and-coming team next year, my brother. You got to play pretty amazing to make it next year after doing this. So, hope Jackson Hayes get it together, man. You can't be making mistakes like this and expecting the people to select you to their team. Or maybe he don't care. Maybe he's all about winning, and that's good for us.
I mean, the thing is, he's incredibly young. So, I mean, this is something like a young guy would, a mistake a young guy would make. And the truth be told, the man's right. He played himself into a opportunity to play in the Rising Challenge. Zion, truth be told, just got back. And the fact that Zion is there as opposed to, Jackson is just indicative of it's a popularity contest. And most of the times the guys that really deserve to be there aren't going to be there. So, I mean, this is just what it is.
I don't really think it was Zion. We all know Zion was going to be there.
Whether he played 2 or 3 games, he was going to be there.
Right. I think it was Alexander Walker. And then you got to understand those 3 guys are actually pretty tight. They've hung out all summer. They've done a lot of stuff together. So the fact his other 2 brothers went, and he probably was the one that played the most minutes and gave up, the most, and they don't pick him. So I definitely understand his frustration. But, part of being a man, bro, is, just keep having that integrity to keep it going when nobody ain't watching, man. Don't worry about that. Or did they drop the ball there? You can be upset, but that should just fuel you to work harder, Right. Them 8 minutes you get, those 12-minute games you get, you rebound more, you do all those things. You should have went right into the gym after he found out he didn't make it, man. Take your frustration out like that. You're not really going to gain a lot from going on social media and cussing the people out that pay your check. You know what I'm saying? That's not really going to help you unless you're about to leave out the league.
Well, you can see we had the apology online. We just shared the screen showing the apology online about what really happened. So let's move on to the next thing, which is the first matchup, New Orleans Pelicans against the Boston Celtics, in which the Pelicans got to win 123-108. This was a little payback issued out to the Boston Celtics after they just took the Pelicans apart early on. But this was a payback here. They finished 16 of 36 from the three-point line. That's 44%, while Boston shot a ridiculous 24% on the night, 8 of 33. New Orleans was just 19 of 29, 65% from the free throw line. They got to get that up. Boston was 8 of 22 for 81%. Might as well say 82. New Orleans out-rebounded Boston 54-37, including the 18-7 on the offensive end, on the offensive rebounds, which is a good move there. Big up to you, Shedrick. I see your family. And after falling behind by 23, 69-46 early in the third, Boston went on the 33-18 run that cut that deficit down to 8 points with about 1:34 left. Then Kemba Walker started getting going. 16 of the 35 points in the quarter for the Celtics. Boston kept kind of chipping away at that lead, cutting the deficit down to 6 points, which was about 95-89. And then with less than 10 minutes left in regulation, the Pelicans answered on a 7-2 to run the push the lead back to double digits and led by no less than 9 points for the rest of the entire game. So it was a big win there for the Pelicans. Zion Williamson finished with 21 points and 11 rebounds and registered his first double-double, his first career double-double game, 21 and 11. Highest score with Jrue Holiday. He finished with 25 points, and Williamson had 11 rebounds. Zoe Ball, 15 assists in this contest. Kemba Walker was the top man for the Pels with 35 points. So they got a win against the Celtics, which gave them their first win. Of course, the prior was a loss to the Nuggets. And then, of course, the Pelicans started moving forward. Now, before we bounce and get to the DC's analysis, what he thought about this game, let's hear what Coach Elvin Gentry said after the Pelicans were able to get the win over the Celtics. Plus, remember, this was all after the time when Kobe Bryant's plane, a helicopter went down, and a lot of grieving was occurring in the league. So let's listen to what Coach Gentry thought about the game as well as Kobe Bryant. Here it goes.
I think it's extremely hard. You just realize that what we do is just not very important, really. When you think of the grand scheme of things in life. And, we had a guy that lost his life along with his daughter. That meant the world to everybody, really. Everybody here, he's affected in some way. And, it's just really tough. You would normally be very excited about a win like this. You beat a really good basketball team and a team that beat you by 35 a week and a half ago. It's just not there, really. To be honest with you, it's just not there. I don't know how you're supposed to handle it. The first thing that I thought about when I walked through the doors was, him and his wife. Him and his daughter. And then you think about Vanessa and what she must be going through. And it's just a real, real hard day for everybody, I think. I've seen guys and I've seen, social media things, and it's affected everybody, not just in this country, but, around the world.
You guys decided to change up Zion's minute pattern a little bit, chop it in half in the fourth quarter. What was the decision behind it?
They just thought he was going really well, and just his on-the-court actions said that he could, use a few more minutes because it wouldn't affect him. And so that's why I said that it's not anything that has to do with specific minutes to start. It's just over the course of the game, I'm watching him and seeing how he responds to certain things.
So 3 games in, where would you just kind of assess how he's adapting to
I
the game into you guys?
think he's fine. There's obviously a huge area of improvement that's going to be made. He's played 3 NBA games now, and what he's done is just done on raw talent, really. He'll get, the feel of what we're trying to do and playing in a certain amount of space and how we can get him the ball and things like that. But, he's going to be, a welcome addition, and he's going to be a guy that we can finish the game with.
Elvin Gentry, man, kind of somber, dealing with the Kobe Bryant situation. It was rightly after that fact, but you hear what Coach Gentry was basically his thoughts on the game. DC, quickly, thoughts on the win over Boston.
Very impressive win. You went on a team that didn't lose but 15 times all year, so I know they were missing Jason Tatum, the all-star, as well as I think Ernest Cantor didn't play either, but they still had Marcus Smart, Jaylen Brown, Kemba Walker, and Hayward out there. So it's a very, very good win, and I was very impressed with Zion this game. Just the impact that he has, man. I really started to see this game of what would keep happening in the future. Tongue twisted. But he's gonna open up a lot of shots for his teammates, man, and he's making the game easier for everybody else. Along with the fact that them playing without him and actually starting that win streak. And it's like with him, they all starting to find their stride. And I think this game was one of those games where you could just see it all coming together, gelling, and everybody getting used to him being out there, man. And he's only going to get better, and this team is actually only going to get better. So Very, very impressive game. Scary for about everybody in the NBA, man. I think they're watching and they know what's coming.
That's real, man. Because as we keep moving ahead, man, I think that it is very scary because you have Zion Williamson once he gets totally acclimated to know what time it is, playing with the teammates.
He's still tired out there, Big Q.
What's that?
He's still tired out there. The man ain't even.
I know.
He ain't even in basketball shape.
I
yet.
know it. And he's still having that kind of impact. Could you imagine when he's 100% back in the basketball shape? What would that I mean, just so impactful. Of course, Bi there, and like I was saying, this Pelican club, and I just have to say this is like you see the potential of this team. You've seen what their roster is. You have Fave there playing at the center position, Williamson at the power. I mean, if you look at the five, just the starting five, that is a impactful, very serious five. Zobal, Drew Holiday, Lance, Bi at the small forward position, Williamson at the 4, and then of course Fave at the 5. Very impactful. The overall roster. People kept saying that the Pelicans aren't good enough to be in the playoffs. I kept saying that's some bull. You know what? That's bull. And whoever's saying that was a bunch of morons. They ain't know nothing about basketball. You couldn't assemble this amount of talent and don't expect them to have an impact. They are playing for the playoffs. This is not a team saying we're going to hope to, just win or finish at 500. No, this team has big aspirations, as you can see with Trajan Langdon, who's the general manager, and of course Griffin, the president, are doing as far as building his team up. Now let's move on to the next matchup against the New Orleans, against the Pelicans with the Cleveland Cavaliers. And you talk about teams going two separate ways, man. I mean, come on. I mean, it's just like night and day, and two teams going in two different directions. And it shows, especially during the game. Now, the New Orleans Pelicans were able to take this team. They went up to Cleveland, and Cleveland is not exactly what it used to be. Of course, they just a shell of their former self. But the Pelicans finished the game on 47 of 88 from the field, which is just 53% from the field. They scored 62 of their 125 points in the paint. In the paint, that's brutal. Leading 80-71 with just under 10 minutes left in the third. New Orleans went on a 17-4 to run to take a 22-point lead, which was the largest of the game with less than 5 minutes left in that time frame. Trailing 100-78, Cleveland then closed down with a 12-4 run, and they cut it to about 14. Now, that was done behind their bench was playing. That young player Porter was lighting them up. The Pelicans had a little lull there. Then, of course, the Pelicans went down to 108-100 with about 8 minutes remaining. But New Orleans answered, scoring 8 unanswered, pushing the lead back up to 18, 118-100 with just 5 minutes left in the game. Holiday added 3 steals, then 4 blocks on the night, becoming the first player in Pelican history to post at least 28 points, 8 assists, 3 steals, 4 blocks in the game, as well as the first Cavalier opponent in team history to push such a stat line in the team's 50-year history. Of course, Drew finished with 28 points and 8 assists. Zion Williamson had 9 rebounds. Saxton was their top dude with 24 points. DC analysis on this game before he spin Gentry.
Man, this is a very impressive win. Domination, man. Drew Holiday was out of his mind, Q. I mean, if he would have got an offensive rebound, is there a stat that he didn't get?
I mean, he was
pretty much
excellent in the game, man. Excellent.
This man, he shut down Kevin Love, yo. This is a power forward. That's about 250 pounds, 6'10"-ish, 6'9", 6'10". Drew Holiday guarded this man and shut him down on multiple possessions.
For real, I was so
he
proud
was
of
all
Drew
over
Holiday,
the place, man.
I was so proud of him that game. I ain't gonna front.
This is the Drew Holiday that we've been wanting to consistently show up all year. I know he's not going to get 28 points every night, nor does he have to, but just the level of intensity he played with. Mm-hmm. This reminds me of that game he had in Portland when he shut down Dame Lillard, man. That's the level he was on that night. You know, it was very, very impressive. He pretty much, him and Brandon Ingram carried the team. Everybody else was kind of going through the motions. Zion had a pretty good game, but by his standards, he was a little off that night. But it was still a good game for him. Lonzo Ball was off. He had a very off game. But Drew Holiday and can't forget Brandon Ingram, man. I mean, wow. 9 for 13, 4 for 4 on the threes, man. 24 points. It's just very, very efficient, very impressive. Nicolo Milli is another guy. All these wins they racked up, they started putting him into the rotation like we suggested. Playing him with Zion, playing him with Derek Favors. They've been playing Hayes with Zion, and look at what's going on, Big Q. Look what's going on. We blowing people out, man. Blowing people out, man.
Never before. Let me state this because you're absolutely right. There was not a situation where Elvin Gentry was playing Nico Melli and Zion Williamson together coming back, Jackson Hayes with him as well. Those situations just did not have certain lineups. Just was non-existent. And then miraculously, we started discussing how it will look and why the games mesh. How Jackson Hayes games mesh well with Nico Melli. Nico Melli is your stretch four. He stretches the floor. He can hit the three-pointer. He has a little hustle in him, too. He's not the fastest guy in the world, but he's an effort guy. He'll give you all he have. So that's what I'm saying in terms of what we're saying here. And you can just watch basketball, knowing basketball and understanding how players play in games mesh with each other. You can see that they complement each other. Go ahead, DC.
Yeah, you're right, man. This team, to me, is been perfectly put together, other than the fact we got a little bit too many guards, and I just cringe every time I see Elvin Gentry throw this 4-guard lineup out there. I don't know how many times I need to see it so this man knows it doesn't work. But at least he's playing the bigs now, and I see the 4-guard lineup the way that I saw Nicolo Melli getting in, so I got to give him credit for that. However, he got the inclination or idea to do what he's doing. Hopefully, he'll realize it's working.
Right, and keep doing it.
I think it comes from us and the rest of the Pelicans nation. We can't take all the credit because I know they're seeing the same thing we seen.
Hopefully.
You know, a lot of people who I talk to, they've been saying the same thing. They even a lot of people want Jackson Hayes to get more minutes, which I think Jackson Hayes, he gets enough. About 16 minutes a game is good for him. And Frank Jackson getting his about 10 minutes a game. And it translates to wins, man. So hopefully Elvin Gentry could keep the same thing going, bro. But only time will tell. But I guarantee you, if Nicolo Milli and Jackson Hayes continues to play, maybe they put Okafor in there a little bit when one of those guys are off. I guarantee you this team makes the playoffs, man. We quit trying to play small ball against people who are going big.
Yeah, those 4-guard rotations. The man is insane. But anyway, let's listen to what Elvin Gentry had to say after the win over the Cavs. Here's Gentry.
All right, Coach. Good road win for you. Thought the start was very key, especially the way Brandon Ingram was able to get out and get a shot early on.
Yeah, I thought we started the game the right way offensively, but we talked about this team, having the ability with, Sexton and, all of those guys out there really, Kevin Love and, when Nance came in the game, that they had the ability to score points. And, we ended up exchanging baskets. If you score 74 points the first half, you should have more. You should have at least a double-digit lead. So I thought they hung in, and, they're a good young team, there's a lot of potential on this team. I mean, obviously, I think they got a great coach, and it's just going to take a little time. But if you look at the talent that Kevin Porter Jr. has and some of the other guys, Sexton and those guys, it's a process, and so but I thought they played hard, they competed hard, even when we got the big lead, they got it to single digits again. So we've got to do a better job ourselves of being in that situation and being able to close out games. We should have been in a situation where our bench players should have been able to finish that game, and we didn't have to play guys, the extra 4 or 5 minutes that we did. So, but all in all, any road win that you can get is going to be a good road win. And I thought when we needed to, we sat down and we guarded and we did what we wanted to.
Well, speaking of guard, we saw what Drew Holiday was all about tonight. He was absolutely not locked down defender at times.
He was, and we went in and had him guard Porter, and I thought he did a great job on him, just breaking his rhythm a little bit and coming up with a couple of steals. But I thought Drew was terrific tonight. And I thought Brandon started the game exactly as we needed for him to start. He hadn't had many opportunities in the last couple of games, but I thought with the speed that we played with and the ball movement we had, we created some things for him.
And it wasn't just the guards. You were able to put Drew on Kevin Love for a good little bit in that first half. Just how valuable is he to be able to just stick basically anybody out there?
Well, I mean, you guys been around enough to know that that's exactly who he is. I mean, he can guard anybody. It doesn't matter. And, and we don't look at it as a mismatch, and we weren't going to go down and double team, as you could see, when they threw the ball into Kevin Love. We just told him to guard him, and I think they threw it in 3 times, and Drew came up with 3 stops.
That's Drew. That's Elvin Gentry's thoughts on, of course, what happened during the Cavaliers game. It's proof positive about how good of a defender Drew Holiday is. But good grief, man. Drew Holiday is still only, 6'5", 6'4", 6'5", guarding Kevin Love, 6'11", so 6'10", whatever it is. A part of that crazy, but, he was able to do it this time around. But that's part of the nonsense that happened against the Lakers when he was tasked with guarding LeBron James or Antonio Davis. It worked this time for you, but, man, come on, man. You can't continue. Size for size. Come on, man.
I got to give Alvin Gentry a little bit of slack with the Drew Holiday thing.
You're saying now because it actually worked. You'd have been saying
No, I'm saying it because of this, not because it worked. But I'm saying it because looking at it now, I've noticed a trend with him guarding big guys for a lot of minutes at least. You got to understand, Kevin Love is a UCLA, I think, alumni. So I'm pretty sure him.
You say it's Drew School Love at UCLA pickup games also. Thank you for that.
Right. So they have a familiarity with each other, and he played him a lot. So it's a comfortable situation. And that made me think about the AD situation, which is the one that backfired. I believe that maybe Al Gentry saw Drew Holiday in practice a lot give AD hell. So he thought it would be an excellent idea, which is probably the worst idea he had all season. And that's saying a lot because he had a lot of bad ideas.
Oh, my goodness. Don't let me start.
But he thought that, he'd have a pretty good shot with putting Drew on AD. I know he wouldn't shut AD down, but he thought he'd probably maybe hold him at 29, 30 or something. AD ain't do nothing but score 44 points.
Yep.
Horrible idea. But I think that's the thinking behind it. At least I understand now what might be going through his head. Along with Drew Holiday probably telling him, I can do it. I can guard him. Put me on him, coach. So.
Well, I'll tell you what, DC. Hold that thought. We're going to come back. We got the break coming up. And when we come back, we'll finish recapping the other games. Then, of course, we got the preview of the Houston Rockets matchup. Big ups to Jocks P, Hughes P in the building. Thank you, family, for your comment. We'll return after the break with more Pelican content. Stay with us. Listen to the Pelican postgame report on the PRO Media Network.
Get straight sports talk from the Sports Coma with Big Q and the guys.
Embrace Pet Insurance is more than just pet insurance. Embrace Pet Insurance promises to provide genuine support and certainty when your pet need it the most. With personalized accident and illness policies, compassionate customer care, 24/7 access to veterinary professionals, flexible wellness plans, timely claims processing, and online customer portals, their values is what makes them Embrace. So, when selecting a pet insurance company as a partner in your pet's care, you deserve a company that has your pet's best interests at heart. Get top-rated and reviewed coverage for your pet today. Up to 90% back on bills at any vet, total protection, pet insurance and wellness, and dependable claims payments. Get the top-rated and reviewed coverage for your pet today. Go to EmbracePetInsurance.com. That's EmbracePetInsurance.com. Check the link in the description section below.
Get all the latest news and updates from your New Orleans Pelicans at the Pelicans are GEAUX, the new and official Pelicans Daily Journal, covering everything Pelican.
Attention, everyone.
Get breakdown on games, free agent signings and potential moves, unbiased opinions and straight up facts with statistical analysis from GEAUX. Go to www.thepelican.com thesportsdaily.com/Pelicans-I-View.
Are you a boxing fan? Check out Ring Kings Boxing only on the PRO Media Network.
Do you need a domain name? How about a host for your website that can work with WordPress? Try Namecheap.com. They make registering, hosting, and managing domain names for yourself or others easy and affordable because the internet needs people. Namecheap is an ICANN accredited domain register and technology company founded in 2000. It's one of the fastest growing American companies according to the 2018 Inc. 5000, celebrating nearly 2 decades of providing unparalleled levels of service, security, and support. Namecheap has been steadfast in customer satisfaction with over 10 million domains under management. Namecheap is among the top domain registrars and web providers in the world. They offer a full selection of popular and unique domains along with fully featured hosting packages, SSL security certificates, WhoisGuard privacy protections, and more, all at the lowest prices in the industry. So if you need a domain name or hosting or anything else, think Namecheap.com. That's right, Namecheap.com. Check the description section below for link.
Sports fans are gearing up and saving big at Fanatics.com, the world's largest collection of officially licensed fan gear. From all the leagues, teams, and players you love, unique one-of-a-kind designs exclusively by Fanatics, and autographed collectibles from today's biggest stars shipped directly to your home. Join Fanatics Rewards for free to earn fan cash on every purchase. Shop now and for a limited time, get 20% off all orders. Fanatics.com, officially licensed everything.
There's a lot of reasons to be a fan, but only NBAStore.com has all the gear.
Are you a Pelicans fan? Check out the Pelican postgame report on the PRO Media Network.
You're listening to the Pelicans postgame report on the PRO Media Network for all things Pelicans.
For all things Pelicans, you're tuned into the Pelican postgame report on the PRO Media Network, recapping the past week Pelican matchups. It's been another week, a pretty damn good week for the Pelicans, if you ask me, as they're built that couple of game winning streak. And this could lead to much more impressive things. Of course, the win over the Boston Celtics and the Cleveland Cavaliers leads us right up to the matchup against the Memphis Grizzlies. And of course, the Grizzlies matchup, man, is another thing. Well, you see a young team against a young team, but not exactly too young. You have Drew Holiday there and a couple of really savvy veterans like Favors and the rest of the guys, JJ Redick and the likes. But the Pelicans are a healthy mix of youth and veteran leadership. And this team will start ascending. They'll start climbing the charts. Let's move into this upcoming matchup here, GC, against the Memphis Grizzlies. This was an outright destruction. This was just annihilation of the Memphis Grizzlies in the Smoothie King Center. They took this team apart bit by bit. And I mean, what could you say? I mean, this was fantastic. Now, New Orleans finished the game 51-95 from the field. 51-95. That's almost 54%. That's almost 54% there. And it was fantastic, to be quite honest with you, how they were able to do this, including 15-34 from the three-point line for 44%. And they were 22 of 26 from the free throw line for about almost 85%, with all their trips in the strike coming in the final three quarters. Memphis was 45 of 96 for just shy of 47% from the floor, including 6 of 31 from downtown, a miserable 19% from the three-point range, and then 15 of 26 for about 58% from the free throw line for themselves. Now, the first 20 points for the Pelicans came inside the paint. They finishing 68 on the night there. Entering the matchup, the Grizzlies' opponents were averaging 47 points in a game in the paint. Now, trailing 54-42 with 5 left in the second quarter. They closed on a 17-8 run. The Grizzlies did to cut the deficit to 7 at the break. Pelicans responded in the third, opened in the second half on a 22-9 run. And then that took it up to 88-68 midway through the time frame. The Pelicans never looked back. They scored as many as 32 points late in the fourth quarter after committing 13 first-half turnovers. New Orleans had 6 miscues in the second half. 8 players finished in double figures for the Pelicans, including 5 players with over 16 points, which was Zion Williamson, finished with 24 points. Ingram had 20, Holiday 18, Ball 19, Reddick 16. Blowout. Absolute blowout. That was the third game. They're currently on the 3-game winning streak, rising like that, soaring up the way. Before DC, I let DC chime in. Let's hear what Elvin Gentry had to say, because the truth be told, man, getting Zion Williamson back, that was the main thing, though, to really kind of look at it. And I was thinking in my mind, we got Zion Williamson. You had him with Brandon Ingram. Drew Holiday could be Drew Holiday. He don't have to worry about too much. He just play his game, do his thing, and we'll be fine. Now, also, Elvin Gentry had his 500 career game run, a win. 500 wins for Elvin Gentry in this game. So it was a big, really nice affair for him as well. So let's hear Brandon Ingram first after the post game. Here's Brandon Ingram as he talks about his thoughts on the game, because he had he played pretty well in this matchup too. Here's Ingram, then we're going to transition to Elvin Gentry.
What is just chemistry with that group like right now, you think?
I think we got a good feel for what each person likes to do on the basketball floor. Our point guard puts us in a pretty good position to do what we do well on the offense and defensive end, just pushing the pace and running with him and him finding the open man and transitioning in the half-court offense.
Is this kind of the team you thought you might have had before the injury bug hit and all that? Is this kind of what you expected?
Didn't have any expectations for what we were going to be. I just knew we had a lot of talented players in the locker room. And when I got here, I think the attitude and the character went along with it. And we just continue to work each and every day when we get in practice, and it shows up in games.
You guys were plus 23 in rebounding tonight. How much do you think the improvement in that area has kind of been instrumental in what you guys have done the last few weeks?
Well, it starts our offense, especially when we're taking the ball off the rim and pushing the pace, and we're getting easy baskets after that. And that's kind of the way we want to play. I think it develops a rhythm for our team when we take it into the basket and we start shooting on our outside shots.
Ingram with his thoughts on the game. DC, you seen this game, man? This was a blowout special right here. One of the type of matchups that you actually need as a team to be able to build confidence and move forward. It's just what the Pelicans called upon. 2-game winning streak, then a blowout of the Grizzlies. They're getting closer and closer to reaching that 8 seed, that playoff race. They just have to keep stacking wins upon wins upon wins. And eventually they will get there. They'll have a few hurdles along the way, but nothing that they can't handle. And people start seeing that the Pelicans are truly something special. Thoughts on that Memphis win?
Very impressive win. The third quarter was like, wow. It's almost a perfect quarter of basketball for them, man. The one time I seen them, they had one turnover. I was like, what? I mean, this team, man, if we could stop turning the ball over, because Lonzo Ball had an uncharacteristic 6 turnovers tonight. Very uncharacteristic of him. He gets a little sloppy with the ball, but I mean, Lonzo Ball had an amazing game tonight. He's kind of the guy nobody's really talking about. Drew Holiday had 3 steals in the first quarter. I don't know what happened for the rest of the game. He ain't getting no more. But he got 3 steals all in the first quarter. And still came in with 2 blocks. They played defense. They were on the offensive boards. Like, the only thing negative I could really say about the Pelicans in this game is they had 19 turnovers. And that's been kind of a trend with us getting too many turnovers, but they're finding a way to win with all these turnovers. But when we play a team like coming up, Houston, when you play the Lakers, when you play even probably the Thunder or Portland, when you play some of the better teams in the league, you can't turn the ball over like that, man, and give away free possessions. A lot of them are a little lackadaisical, but I don't want to be the dead horse with turnovers because they were very impressive this game. They went out, they handled business, man. And this is a big win because this is the team that you're trying to steal that 8th spot from. So it is very important that you get at least a tiebreak up on them. So we didn't play them twice, beat them twice. I think we got 2 more left in the season. So hopefully we can duplicate this same thing. But very impressive win. We had 8 guys in double figures, man. Like this is amazing. This is probably one of the better games the Pelicans played all year. It was definitely a season high in points, 139. And the 111 score from the Grizzlies is even inflated. They probably could have very well held the Grizzlies under 100 points the way they were playing on defense. Now, I do want to understand that Jared Jackson, Jared Jackson Jr. didn't play this game. He was suspended, I guess, for that fight altercation they had. So I do want to point that out. We've been getting a little lucky with Boston and the Grizzlies. We didn't play them at full strength, but the way they played, even with them missing the key piece, I still think we would have beat them teams. Maybe it wouldn't have been a blowout completely, but we still would have won. Pelicans playing awesome. They showing up for the tough teams. So gotta love that, man. I can't wait to see what they do against Houston today.
Absolutely. Here goes Drew Holiday with his thoughts after the Grizzlies win.
Especially one-on-one, which is something that he'll have to do more and more. I feel like we, as a team, we try to give him the confidence and know that, like, if you go in there and you miss or do whatever, like that's okay. It's coming right back to you. So I just think his confidence is definitely being built and being matched. So.
Just having faced these guys a couple times recently, the way that y'all are built, just personnel-wise, do y'all feel like y'all are just a good match with this team?
Yeah. I feel like, especially our starting five, kind of a good match against anybody, if you want to be completely honest. I feel like all five of our guys are very solid and I mean, actually pretty good at a lot of things. And then with our bench coming in, the energy that they bring, you got Jay Hart playing tough, Etuan coming through, Nico doing what he's supposed to do. So I think we got a really good team.
They had 51 tonight. I mean, when the bench contributes like that, I mean, I imagine percentage-wise, you're not going to lose many games. Right?
Yeah, I think it's we're pretty unstoppable if it's like that. Hopefully, we can be like that every game.
Thank you.
Drew Holiday family, and I agree wholeheartedly with Drew on that, man. You listen to what he was saying about their starting five being one of the solid five that can do pretty much anything, and he's absolutely right. And the cool part about it, just to kind of elaborate on it, and you look over the roster, this is what we seen early on when we was doing the previews for the Pelican. You put that starting five, Zobal, the way he was able, as he's been playing. Now, he had a few games here or there recently where he's kind of teared off a bit and he had uncharacteristic turnovers here or there. But these guys are allowed to do what they do when they're completely healthy. They're allowed to be who they are, meaning Zobal could be who he is, run that point, distribute the ball. Don't have to worry about scoring a lot. But you can look at what Fred Vincent, the assistant coach, or J.J. Redick, what they've been able to do in terms of help him take that three-point shot. He has been stepping into that three-point shot with a lot of confidence, knocking that three-point shot down. And you got to attribute that to the assistant coaches working with him on the shot. Definitely Fred Vincent's involved, but J.J. Redick's, I can see J.J. Redick's hands on there as well. Big ups to you, Larry. I see you. And that's one of the fantastic things I really like about this Pelicans front five. It's a great mix of youth and experience. Drew Holiday is allowed to be who he is at that off-guard spot. He don't have to worry about handling the ball too much because he's forced to. He can be that defensive guy. In some games, he can step up and score 20-plus if you need him to. You know, so he's allowed to relax. And then, of course, with Zion in the starting five, that allows Ingram to go back to the to the three position, the small forward position, which is where he belongs. And he's comfortable there playing that three, and he's not forced to be a four because that's Gentry's mindset, is to run the three guards and go small every opportunity he can get. But having them in there forces them to stay where they are. And they have the athleticism, they have the size, they have that veteran experience. And then we talking Zion with who he is. And then at the 5 spot, Derek Favors, which is his low-key persona, but really intelligent defensive player, crafty offensive guy in the paint, can knock the three-point shot down as well. Faves definitely deserves a contract as well as B.I. So the reality at the end of the day is that this is a very serious team, DC.
Right, definitely, man. And we can't, this one guy I didn't mention. I mentioned almost everybody else. Well, 2 guys that's been key to these wins as well. Josh Hart and J.J. Redick, man. They've both been playing amazing. Josh Hart gets about 26 minutes or so a game, and he always just manages to find himself double digits in rebounds. It's weird, man. It was like 6'5". Incredible rebounder, dude. And he's coming off the bench. He come out there, he fights for every loose ball, plays excellent defense. And when they leave him open, he knocks down the shot, man. And I love him on the break. He's probably one of the best guys other than Brandon Ingram and Drew Holiday on the break with 3 or 4 guys at the rim. It's like he don't even care. He go there and he gets buckets that way. And J.J. Redick, man, he's shooting lights out. Sorry, J.J., but he ain't going to guard a lick. He might get you a steal every once in a while, but he just shooting lights out, man. I mean, I don't think people understand how hard it is to get about 16, 18 minutes a game and consistently put up 15 to 17 points. Like every night. That's insane, man. That's insane. So those are 2 of the other key members. We talked about Melly. We know what Hayes does. Frank Jackson is giving you a lot of energy coming off the bench, not translating to a lot of points right now, but we got a good second unit as well, man. I mean, This team is very deep.
Yeah, the bench is awesome.
And we're still not even at nowhere near our potential. That's the insane part.
I know.
They can get a lot better. A lot better, man. Consistency is really the main focal point for this team. We have these peaks and valleys. Like, they're playing great right now. But I remember maybe 5 games or so ago, we couldn't hit a shot. And we act like we didn't know how to get to the rim when our shots wasn't falling. Just kept jacking up threes. So if they can continue to grow and know who they are, stay in their identity, like I've seen these games, because when those shots weren't falling, those threes, when they went through peaks and valleys with them and they attacked the rim, man. If they can keep that going and don't really play isolation basketball, keep the ball moving, because that works well in Gentry's system, as long as that ball keep moving, man, I don't think it's nobody they can't beat. They got everything they need to beat somebody. I mean, maybe we could upgrade in a bigger center that plays better defense somewhere on the roster, but that's probably about the only thing I could think of.
The only thing they can look at is just providing size off the bench, maybe a taller guy that can play the 4 or 5 or something like that. But outside of that, they're doing pretty good.
Don't need nothing else, man.
Right, I don't think
a backup small forward would be nice, but Kenny Hustle probably has to come off with injury at some point. But I really don't want to see him out there, Q. I don't want to see they playing too good, man.
Right, yeah, he does slow it down.
And Alvin Gentry loves that guy, and he kind of gets carried away with his minutes sometimes.
Well, you got the Houston Rockets coming up here, and the Pelicans are currently on the 3-game winning streak. They are 20-29, 9 games back of 500. 10 and a half games back of Houston, who they play today. And Houston, of course, this will be the final game of the season series between the Rockets and the Pelicans. And, of course, the Pelicans beat the Rockets 127-112. Remember that matchup. Rockets were kind of shorthanded in that affair. But all these matchups were pretty close. The first time the Pelicans played, they lost 126-123 in a close one. Then the second matchup was 122-116 Rockets. So these games have been pretty close, except for the one where the Rockets had a lot of injuries. And, of course, this is the final time the Pelicans could close out in the season series at 2-2 with a win over the Rockets. The Rockets, the top team right now in the Southwest standings. They're 30-18, followed by Dallas, who's a half a game back at 30-19. Memphis, who the Pelicans have beaten twice in the last week or so, are 24-25. San Antonio's 22-26. And, of course, the Pelicans, charging from the rear on the 3-game winning streak, are 20-29. Now, you look at what the Rockets are doing right now. They're coming off a loss to the actually a win. They were able to beat the Dallas Mavericks 128-121. Prior to that, they lost to the Portland Trailblazers. The Pelicans on a 3-game winning streak after losing back-to-back matchups to the Nuggets and the Spurs. Now, of course, injuries concerns. Looking at the injury report is showing that Clinton Capella is listed as day-to-day. We expect him to play in this matchup. Kenrich Williams is also out, completely listed as out. He probably will due to come back much later. We'll see. But Ingram is the top scorer on the team, 25 points per game. Harden is their guy, 35.5 from him. Ingram also leads the team in rebounding, 6.3. Capella is the top rebounder for the Rockets, averaging 14 rebounds a game. The guy's a beast in the paint. Zoe Ball is the top assist man for the Pels, about 7 a game. And Russell Westbrook is the top dude for them with 7.5 on the assists. For the Rockets, will be an interesting game. A lot of people predicting the Rockets to win this game overwhelmingly over the Pelicans, as the predictors have it at 76.6 in the matchup. So they have a blowout set saying that they should be able to hand the Pelicans a loss in the Toyota Center. What say you, DC, of this matchup?
I think I can't go against the Pelicans, man. I mean, as great as the Rockets have been playing, because Russell Westbrook has actually been kind of playing out of his mind right now. He's starting to look like the Russell Westbrook with Thunder.
Yeah, he's settling in.
Yeah. James Harden is having a little bit of a rough stretch. I mean, he's that guy. His name Harden makes a lot of sense, Q, because he is hard-headed as hell. This dude will shoot 17 3-pointers and make one, and just keep shooting. Like, I mean, I understand, the shooter's mentality, but I mean, come on, James. But hey, good for us. Maybe you have another night like that. So, with Russell playing the way he plays, James Harden come out and had a game he had. Oh man, it's going to be tough. But these are two teams with similar systems. If the Pelicans can be on offensively, I mean, it can basically be a shootout. And if it is a shootout and everybody's on and they can't really do anything with us, I actually think we fare a little bit better than the Rockets. We have better pieces. A lot of people may not believe that, but we are actually a better team top to bottom. The Rockets do have a collection of talent over there themselves, so
but they're quite
I'm not saying they're not talented, but when you start to dig into their bench and you start to go in that direction, you see what I'm talking about. So if we're able to, we gotta slow one of these guys down, man. Russell Westbrook can't have no 39-8 game, and we can't let Harden drop 45 and, with both of that together and expect to win. So if any way we can keep Harden to 30 points, somewhere around that 30-point range, and keep Russell in the teens or the mid-20s, I think that'll be enough to be able to take this game, because Houston, they're not crazy about playing no defense.
No, they're
Let's
not.
be honest.
Yeah, you say a lot of.
They're top heavy, like you said.
Yeah, they are top. I'm looking at the statistics on them. Harden, I just gave you his statistics. Russell Westbrook is 26.5 on the scoring. Eric Gordon is also 16 solid a game. We
can't do nothing with that. He's gonna get him, man.
Then you're looking at Clinton Capella cleanup points is in mostly alleys from Harden or Westbrook. 14 points, 14 rebounds a game, a 14-14 guy. Then, of course, they have bench help, Daniel House Jr. with his 10 points a game. Ben McLemore's 10 points a game, and Austin Rivers throws in 8. So they do have a collection of
and they also got. I mean, you can't miss Michael Frazier, man. That guy made it All-Star game, so he ain't nothing to sneeze at either. They have a collection of talent.
Yeah, you're right. Frazier's on there. He's listed at 2.2, but still.
I don't know how the hell he made the All-Star game, but
that's why Jackson Hayes so flipping mad. But anyway, that's going to bring us toward the end of the show. But I'd like to thank everybody for joining us on the show today. Thank you to all the great people for chiming in on this Sunday morning for the Pelican post-game report. And remember, we represent the Pelicans. We have our show every week. We cover the past weeks of Pelican games. So we'll recap this matchup as well. So thank you. Subscribe if you're not subscribed, and hit the like button. Share the show. Thank you for joining us today. From me and DC, peace. Go Pels.
Are you a Pelicans fan? Check out the Pelican postgame report on the PRO Media Network.
The Kleins family has been getting people to go nuts for old nuts since 1995. As legends have it, a number of the Kleins friends who heard the idea said you can go nuts trying to name a store like that. In the excitement, the Kleins thought their friends said old nuts instead of go nuts and proceeded to throw caution to the wind. Old Nuts has over 2,000 items, bulk and wholesale prices of a whole lot of your favorite fruits, nuts, and confessions, a selection of gift baskets for any budget, any occasion, and provides one of the best and impressively rated shopping experiences on the web. Fact is, between their selection, service, speed, or their online presence and the virtual mirror retail experience, they have developed an enviable client base that's comprised of personal and professional customers who count on their remarkable range of gift baskets. Think of gift basket, think about Old Nuts. Check them out, oldnuts.com. Check the link in the description section below. Tea is your escape. It's your opportunity to create a moment for stillness, for reflection, for yourself. It's your connection to a world of senses, flavors both exotic and familiar, energizing and relaxing. It's your retreat from an increasingly turbulent world. It's the perfect paradox of simplicity and complexity. Teabox.com connects tea to people, uniting the richest flavors of the finest teas with the curious, the cultivated, and the adventurous all over the world. The freshest tea you've ever tasted, from crop to cup. There's simply no simpler way to experience the wonderful complexity of tea. Teabox, packing up the freshness. Tea thrives on freshness, and so do they. Teabox temperature and humidity control facility ensure that tea is maintained. The teas themselves go into oblique bags with aluminum layers that protect them from excess moisture and light. With Teabox, shopping for fresh, loose leaf tea is easy because you make an informed purchase. You know exactly where your tea is coming from. So for the freshest teas in the world, check out Teabox.com. That's right, Teabox.com. Check the link in the description section below.
Are you a boxing fan? Check out Ring Kings Boxing only on the PRO Media Network.
Go to newfrog.com for all of your electronic gadget needs. Fast becoming #1 online seller of cell phone and accessories, consumer electronics, automobiles and motorcycles, home and garden items, 5D diamond painting crafts, electrical and tool supplies, computer and networking supplies, lights and lighting supplies, sports and travel items, toys and hobby supplies, apparel and accessory, mother and kid items, health and beauty items, and much, much more. Newfrog.com has up to 70% off on some products. And you can check out their weekly promotions for all the best deals. Remember, when thinking online electronics and gadgets, think New Frog. Newfrog.com. Check the link in the description section below.
In today's world, children are bombarded with negativity on television, online, and at school. Our kids need to have a positive outlook on life and the world around them. I want to share with you a valuable resource you can use to bring positivity into your child's life. It's the new book, 101 Powerful Children Affirmations, a guide to positive child self-image, from author and dad, G.J. Barabino. This is a simple guide loaded with wonderful and inspirational affirmations designed to uplift young people's spirits. This positive and powerful children affirmational is chock full and loaded with wonderful inspirational sayings that will lift your child's self-image to whole new levels through the awesome power of spoken word. 101 Powerful Children Affirmations, a guide to positive child self-image, from author and dad, G.J. Barabino. Available on Amazon. Order a copy for yourself, your child's teachers, or anyone you know with children. 101 Powerful Children Affirmations, a guide to positive child self-image. Order your copy today.
What's up, Sports World? The PRO Media Network is on a mission to reach 10,000 subscribers. So besides our regular programs like the Sports Coma with Big Q and the guys, the Pelican Post Game Report, Rapid Fire TSC, and others, we will be expanding out and offering other content like movie, anime, and gaming reviews for your entertainment. So if you enjoy our content, please donate at our Patreon page. Also subscribe, comment, and share, and help the PRO Media Network reach 10,000 subs. Peace.